Hello, hello. Have I got anybody watching me? Hello, say hello. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Oh, hello, Susan. Hi, Jennifer. All right, I'm going to kick off because I only have an hour. So welcome everybody to Natalie May Scrapbooking, and this is the last live for the Great International Craft Show online. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be crafting on behalf of Nat along with Kasha for these lives to show you all the goodies and some tips and tricks on how to use your products. So the specials will continue tomorrow. These are the specials that will be for the whole weekend. So make sure you jump online to nataliemay.com.au and check out what is there. Hi, Sharon. That's okay. Thanks for popping in. Today I'm going to create some tags, and I'm going to use them all and create products which are 15% off. If you missed this morning's live, Kasha did some paper crafting with some Simple Stories packs, which are 20% off. And of course, we've got lots of goodies for you. So don't forget, we have our no judgment postage. If you've already put an order in, or today's your first order and you think you missed something and you want to put something in tomorrow, you will be emailed a code so that you can not pay for postage twice. You will put your code in and you'll get no judgment postage, which has a small admin fee. Hi, Denise. So let's talk about tags. So what do we do with tags? I know lots of people are a bit worried about tags or don't know what to do with tags. So I have got here I've pre-gessoed some of the Natalie May tags, and they're only cardstock. So, you know, if I don't like them, I can throw them in the bin. So there is that. So the classes that I'm teaching last month and this month coming up are actually chipboard tag classes. So they're bigger ones, they're more sturdy, and I put mine up on the wall, but I have seen people make things with those. But here's another couple of ideas that I've done with some tags. So I've made, I like to experiment with things on a tag before I do it in a big art journal page to have a play. Now this one was an Art by Marlene one, and I used the products from her 2022 advent calendar and made some tags. Now this tag book is falling apart, but that was my first one I ever did. But it's a nice little way to put some color down, try some color techniques, and you can make a little tag book out of it. So, and here's another one I did a while ago. So these products are no longer available unless you put in a special order. But this is some old Stamperia. I can't even remember what it's, must be Jungle Safari, something like that. But I wanted to have a play, particularly with this range, because I'm not great with vintage colors. So I had a little bit of a play, and I just love the drafts. So these ones are quite full. I'm still learning how to make the books, so there's lots of YouTube videos, but it's a good little way just to try color techniques, try out new techniques, practice things, and see how, yeah. Well, Sharon, I think I need to learn a bit more because mine don't open great, but it was definitely fun to make. But I'll keep practicing, and maybe you could do a tag book. I think that's a great idea. But they're cute, and I've just used a bit of chipboard and stuck some, so they sit up on my bench like that. So that's one thing you can do with tags. The other thing I do with tags is to add them into scrapbooking pages. So if you watched my scrapbooking class last night, I actually used a pre-made tag, but from Vicky Booten, but tags that you make yourself are great to add in. I've also used them on art journal pages, and I know a lot of people use them in art journal pages and create pockets or just have them as their feature. So what are we going to play with today? I'm going to focus on these cute little All and Create stamps. Now, if you haven't looked at the All and Create section, I know there's some of the really little stamps are in the clearance section at a ridiculous price, but I love these little guys, and I love the D's. I have 1, 2, 3 D's on tags up on my wall, and I love doing these guys too. So I'm going to pop these onto some tags and show you how else I use the whole stamp. So you get the little guy, you get apple and what the word apple means, the noun. I'm guessing it's from a dictionary. And then there's apple is my favorite fruit down the bottom of that one. And the pear has, I'm guessing they're pear seeds. And then that. Now the wording particularly doesn't appeal to me, but I love the font of the font. I love the font, and I will use that as part of my tags. So I'm going to create a vintagey style one. I'm going to attempt to, and a nice bright color one. So let's get some paint down. And again, I'm coming back to the new Paper Artsy paints that, well, they're not the new ones. I don't think they're all the new ones, but they're new for me. So I've got Ochre, Firebird, Toffee Apple, and Sagasso. Don't know what that means, but anyway, I also have, if I want to, I'm not sure if I'm going to use this color yet, but this is one of the new refillable markers, and I have mixed a purple and a pink in there. So I'm going to use that for my mark making, if I remember. All right, so I'm just drying my brush off. Now I have pre-gessoed these because I did want to use some stenciling techniques. So starting with my lightest color first, which is the ochre. Now I'm using some colors that are next to each other on the color wheel here, and I particularly wanted to use the Toffee Apple because we've got an apple one, although this is a bit of a pinky. All right, so let's get those colors on. Now, the Paper Artsy paints are a chalky paint. They are also, they are opaque. I'm just going into the next color. And I'm not changing my brush. Oh, I've got a hair in there. Not cleaning my brush. Just getting that color on there. And by not washing my brush, those colors are absolutely blending beautiful. Now, red can be quite an overpowering color to use. I know a lot of people who love red but don't use it a lot because there's a bit of a niche to it. You don't want it to look like bloodshed, is what I'm told. So I don't seem to have a problem with it, but some people do. All right, so welcome if you've just joined us. This is the last live of the weekend, and thank you for joining us if you've watched. I know there's a few of you that have been watching all weekend. I'm just cleaning that off so I don't stick that in. So I'm going to pop that to the side and let it dry for a bit. And then my second one, we're going to go with some Dina Wakley paints. If you didn't see the fabulous Dina Wakley release this morning, I'm very excited about those colours. So I'm going to go with Sedona and Ruby, so in the orange and red theme. And I've got olive and syrup out, but I'm just going to sit those aside and see where we go with these two. Hi, Julie. Oh, you're not in the car park today. It's okay. I do understand. I watched Kasha the other morning from the chair of the pedicure place while I was getting a pedicure. I couldn't hear her, but I was definitely watching from the massage chair while my feet were getting done. All right, so yes, we are making some messy tags, and I'm going to have to look into those tag books, I think, Sharon. And now we're going into that ruby. Those two colours are absolutely beautiful together. Now, you might think that looks absolutely red in your face, and you're right, it does, but that's okay. I'm just going to grab a bit of water on my brush here, and you know what I'm going to do. I don't want the leftover paint, so I'm just going to splatter on there. And I just realised I'm working sideways, and then we will clean up this mess. Oops. So I've been home alone for 3 days, and I think my boys are on their way home. The older one went with his godparents last night. They're a little town away from where my in-laws are, and got up early this morning and went on a fishing boat. Not that he fishes, but the other boys do. So my husband went to pick him up, and they weren't even back, and they had no signal on the boat. So that didn't happen. So I'm just going to dry these off really quickly so we can work on the next layer. All right, moving back to this coloured one here. So I'm going to add on this sassafras. Now let's have a look at stencils. So I've got a couple of stencils here that are faves. Some Paper Artsy, which is PS 165 and PS 155, and I think I'm going to use that one. I've also got a Dina Wakley one that I'm going to use on one of them, but I think I'll grab this one out and add some leaves stenciled through there. So I think I'm going to leave that for now quickly, and you should see my craft room. It's an absolute mess. All right, let's pull this Dina Wakley one out now before I put those leaves on. So these little lives are a way of you learning some little techniques and show you how to use some products, remind you how to use things and all that jazz. But of course we have plenty of classes and things available to continue going, and it doesn't matter what level of skill you are. Claire Steed is, obviously we all know about Claire Steed's classes, and myself and Kasia are both joining on those. Kasia also does in-person classes, and I'm doing some online classes as well. So I've got 2 tag classes. The January class has happened, so if you want to join in on that, you'll watch it on replay. It was a tag class and it was a chipboard tag class. So they're bigger, there's more technique in it, and that one uses Lindy's Magicals. So I just wiped that paint off through the stencil. I think this stencil is going to be a fave. I do like that. And then I'm going to add the same down the bottom, just creating a bit of interest. Sorry, I just realized I was half off the page. So yes, you can always join in at any time with the classes. My next one is next weekend. So it is more a vintage tag class. So if you like the look of the vintage ATCs I did yesterday, then this one will be up your alley. And then I'm working on a different project for March. So there won't be a tag class in March. So make sure you jump online. I'm doing that class next Saturday night. But of course you can watch. If you don't get your kit in time, you can watch. You could probably even use the techniques and the things that you've got at home with the class, and then do the real thing later. So that's just added a little bit of a pretty background there. And these tags are Nat Mays tags, and you get 10 or 12 in a pack. They are joined together, so you can make them into a tag book if you wanted without the cover, but I clipped them off. So I'm going to pop that one aside while that dries, and then bring this one back. So this one, I'm going to put syrup on here. Now you may think that that's a weird thing to do, but I really think syrup has a good vintage vibe to it. So I'm just cleaning my brush. It's not a complete dry brush. It does have a bit of liquid on it. And I'm just painting over the top. All right, and then I'm getting a clean baby wipe. And I'm just going to wring a bit of the moisture out of my baby wipe, because my baby wipes are really juicy today. All right, so what I'm just going to do is I'm popping my finger under here, and I'm just getting a little bit of that. So I'm going to use that part of my finger, and I'm just going to lightly rub back some of that syrup. And it's warm here today, so that has dried a lot quicker than I thought, so I'll be putting a bit more pressure on. So I've got a bit there, changing it over. Important that you gesso if you're doing this, so that it can take the extra liquid. All right, I'm gonna press a bit harder, because I do want a couple of pops of colour. There we go. So that's got a little bit of a vintagey ness to it. Hope you can see that. There's a bit of a shadow in here today. It's thinking it's going to rain, but it won't. Okay, now again, using this same stencil, I'm going to bring this olive in here. And my olive is clogged because I don't use it very often. All right. Popping that away. And makeup sponge, that's dry, but it's still squishy enough. Now, sorry about the wobble. My phone has just started. I was a bit too happy there. So I'm dabbing on and then dabbing off. And then I'm actually thinking I'm going to swap to these. So I'm only going to do the top corner, and I'm just doing a swiping motion. I don't want the full paint effect. Oh, my tummy is grumbling. Don't know why, because I've just eaten lunch. Yes. So I like that. And then the same down the bottom end. So I've got I've got Monday and Tuesday off because my baby is starting preschool on Tuesday. He's very excited. I'm not sure I'm as excited as he is, but I am because he's very ready for it. Oh, yes, that is delightful. Delightful. Now, I'm just going to clean as I go because yesterday I didn't, and one of my stencils is now coloured permanently. All right, so got a little bit of paint there, left there, and not going to waste that. Actually, before I make too much of one, another little thing I want to do, I have an old credit card. Actually, I have a stack of them. It's actually a gift card that I don't know what happened to it. I'm just going to add, and I may have watered it down a little bit too much already. Just adding a few distress type marks to that. And then continue with my wash. So what are we up to today, ladies? Are we crafting along? Are we enjoying a Saturday craft along? I know this morning I was out last night, so I didn't get to do Claire's class. So I have started Claire's class from last night, and depending on how my back goes, I might keep going, but I might have to do it in sections. I'm having back problems, so, and it's not from all the lives. I was having it a few weeks ago, so I just need to keep up on the anti-inflammatories. So that looks pretty good. Do find something to do after you drop him off. Maybe meet someone for coffee. First days are harder for parents and children. Oh yeah. I've actually got so I got Monday off because that's a pupil free day, but Tuesday my husband's off as well, and so my older boy he starts year 9, so he doesn't actually go back till Wednesday. So we're going to go and do a VR escape room with the big boy. So we will be occupied. So that looks cool. I'm loving that. All right, so we'll go back to this one and back to this Tracy Scott's stencil, which is 155. And I'm going to add this here down the bottom. And I'm going to use this. Yeah, it should be fun. It's not cheap, but it's a special thing for the older boy to do while the younger ones at school and having a big age gap. I need to take those opportunities when I find something and we only have the older boy to do with him. So he'll love having mum and dad's attention to himself. All right. So this time I do want a bit more of a bold impression of this stencil. So I am dabbing it on. If I wanted it really bright, you could gesso, oh, sorry, I've just realized that the camera was wobbling. You could gesso through this first and then add the color on top. That makes it much brighter, but you can, it's like it's drying really quickly. So I can just do a couple of layers. And I thought a leafy, flowery option to go with our little All and Create apple and pear would kind of tie in well. I quite like this stencil, and I can already tell you right now I'm going to be outlining it with a black pen. It's one of those stencils that you can get some marks down. Oh yes, love those colors together. I'm actually going to add a bit more up the top here, and I might use this part of the stencil. Sorry, I know you can't properly see when my hand's right in the way like that. A little bit more. So if anyone watched Kasha this morning going rogue on the Simple Stories card packs, I had to laugh because a few months ago when Nat had the Christmas 49er Market, the big album packs, so they're the mini album that have all the things in. I got the Sun-Kissed one and the Christmas one because, oh, I'll even do that there, because I knew I wanted to scrapbook my Christmas cruise. So I thought I'd put them into two. And then all the little frames are all super tiny. So half of my photos are professional photos from the boat and they don't fit. So I've gone rogue. I'm just going to add another leaf here. Those colors are absolutely amazing. So yes, the new Dina Wakley range has been released, and I believe Nat said it should be up for pre-order soon. So that's exciting. All right, so I'm just going to quickly clean off. I really love that stencil. So that's the PS155. If you are looking for it, if you just put in that code PS155, it brings it up for you. Man, oh man, these paints are drying really quickly. Or I've turned that over the wrong way. Nope, that's dry. So a little trick, if your paint dries really quickly on your stencil and you don't like to have paint on your stencil like me, is, and I don't have any in front of me, so I won't go and get any, is pop a bit of hand sanitizer on it. The alcohol in it will lift it gently. You still need to scrub with a baby wipe, but it will just help clean it off. All right. That can be done later. Put that over in the to-do list. Okay. Now, using that paint again. I don't want to waste it. I absolutely love that stencil. Can't believe I haven't used it before. Been sitting there for a little bit. All right. Going back to our... Actually, I'm going to pop those aside and I'm going to get my stamped images out, which I've pre-stamped. Let those dry naturally because they dry better naturally. And where's my stamped images? All right, so here. So a few things before I start with these that I'm going to also put onto these pages is I have a bit of Nat's Inky Vines collage paper that I'm going to add onto there. I've got these All and Create, which are 15% off today. They're quite cute little labels for your tags or ATCs or anything really. And then I've got this Uniquely Creative Cuts, and I particularly like the words in there, but I also like popping little tags and little leaves in things. So I thought I could use that on a lot of different projects, but I'm thinking I'll use those. So it's got frames and numbers and all that sort of thing. It's actually quite a cool one. Because I've added red, I'm not sure if that will go, but it's sitting there. So colouring these in. Now what I'm going to do is just quickly snap those guys in half. And what I want to do is use similar colours that I've already used. So I might grab out this red. Yes, this red. So that's the toffee apple. Now I need a small brush. Now, I've probably put way too much paint on there. I have, but that's okay. So I've just washed it down a little bit so it's a bit runny. And I've used black archival ink because I'm colouring it and I want it to be permanent. So I pre-stamped that. I want it even runnier than that. So I want it to be, I often use Magicals to colour my guys in. And you know what? I might even colour the pear in. Magicals smooth on really nicely. All right. So I don't mind that that looks a bit rough and ready. I want it to look kind of like I've actually painted it, not that I've bought it in a store like that. Man, I've got a lot of excess paint there. All right. So that's most of that red. And since I've got the red out, I might just actually do these guys. His little overall, well, maybe his t-shirt can be red. Little bit. So you don't have to, all right, I think we're going with that stripy pants. Alrighty, now what am I going to do with that? I'm going to get a junk journal page that I just happen to have lying around. Some old paper. They are very cute, aren't they? And I'm just going to swipe that onto there. And I will dry that and use that later. All right, so there's the red. So I'm going to use a bit of this olive. The Dina Wakley paints are much easier to get little bits out. All right. There's still a bit of red there on my mat. All right, so this is a good pear colour. You could use watercolours as well. I just figured that I've got these colours out and they will match in with the background nicely. So that's the top of his pear. And then this, so this bit here, it's actually a perfect colour for a pear. Now, if I just rinse that down even further. Nope, that wasn't far enough. Okay, that will do. That's our pear. Alrighty. Now, before I go on any further, I'm just going to grab my Life of Colour. These are the skin tones. I use these all the time, and I'm terrible at making my own skin tones with paints. So I just like that I can just use these little guys and create proper skin tones that I like. They say that you normally do your own skin tone, whatever colouring you are. And then this guy, sorry guys, I know I'm on an angle. And the good thing about these is you can just go straight over your stamping with this paint pen. It won't hide the stamping. It dulls it a little bit, but not enough to notice. All right. Another thing I do like to do is this, from that same skin tones pack, I grab out this. It's more a peachy one, and I like to use that on the cheeks. And lastly, and I'll use this one too. So I've got brown. That is a brown skin from the skin tones, but I like to use that in my hair. And their tip is quite fine, so you can get quite close in there. This and my black and white. Oh, there's a peep there. Oh, I probably should use a bit of that for there. The black and white fine tip and medium tip plus the skin tones are my most used Life of Colour pens. And then I'm just going to add a bit of brown up here to this twig. And same on this one. You could use coloured pencils if you want. I do like colouring, but I'm normally doing it with a 4-year-old next to me, so I don't particularly get the pencils out when I'm in here. All right, there's our apple. And I'm just going to wipe that one up, otherwise I'm going to stick my fingers into it. Yes, Susan, they're really good, aren't they? All right, and this is from the metallic brush tip ones, and I just find this one really good because for little tiny lips like that. All right, so I'm going to grab out a different... Now I'm going to do a little mix of... I shouldn't have got rid of that green. I knew there was a reason. Was anyone yelling at the screen going, don't get rid of that green, you haven't done the leaves? Yeah. I'm going to mix a bit of green and this Sedona. We'll see how that goes. Alrighty. Didn't want to go a bright green, mainly because it will stand out because we don't have that on our card background. Sorry. So if you've just joined us, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, they are the Skin Tone Life of Colour pens, Julie. That's okay. Distractions are easily done. Didn't quite like that. Oh, like that though. Okay. So yes, welcome if you are just joining us. This is the last live of the weekend. So if you have joined us for the classes or any classes, thank you for joining along. And now I need to do their clothes. So this guy might have, he can have some Sedona overalls. And I'm going to leave his buttons white. And she can have this olive. So the specials will continue for the rest of the weekend till Sunday at midnight. So make sure you get, so there's those two. Super cute. They are super cute. I did actually get out some of the cuttables to use in the backgrounds, these vintage cuttables, but I don't think they're going to suit now. I even pre-cut them. All right, so just going back to these and making sure that they've got, yeah, so that's quite a chalky look now, which is nice, whereas this has got a bit more of a glaze to it. So I'm quickly going to cut out our guys. Actually, I can cut our guys out later. So let's finish off these. So, apple is going to be, this is going to be pear and that's going to be apple. So I'm using the words that are part of the stamp set. Which one did I say apple was? This one. And I'm going to get some, I'm just going to use black, I think, archival ink. And I'm going to use this as a mark making stamp. So I don't have anything. So I'm going to start it around the edges. And I'm just lightly tapping. And down the bottom. I'm not re-inking. It doesn't even matter what it says. But what I might do is with the apple part, I'm just going to re-ink that apple part and pop it in a few places so that you can actually read it. And then up here. There we go. So yes, you don't have to like the writing part, but that the text makes great great mark making stamps. And I'll do the same with this one, with the pear. Now the pear does have a bit of a nutty, I might even use that nuttiness. It's got 3 sets of extra stamps. All right. So again, I'm just going to start with same thing, light touch. And then down here. So this adds depth, adding black adds depth to our project. And now again, I'm going to use the pear part. In a few places. and clean that off. All right. Now this one's looking quite dark, so to bring in some lightness, I'm going to use a bit of white paint, and I'm going to use this little nutty stamp. I'm hoping that that works. Sorry, I've just making sure I haven't missed any comments. All right, so a little bit of acrylic paint when you're using your stamps. I'm going to pop it on to an acrylic block because it's tiny, and I'm going to smooth out my paint over here. All right. So remembering when we cut these out, there's going to be white on there and their eyes. So we don't want it to be too stark on the page. So I'm dabbing in my paint and then off because I don't want any blobby bits. All right. So I think I'm going to follow this pattern line here. And then over here. And that's quite cool. And I might do some over here. So I'm connecting my stamping to the edges. All right, and it's really important to clean off your stamps when you are using acrylic paint because it makes it hard once it's dry. All right. Now, I'm not going... Oh, am I going to add some white to this one while I've got it out? Yes, I am. What am I going to add white through? We all know I'm going to splatter, right? All right, this is what's on my desk, so I'm just going to go with it. Claire's alphabet. I'm just going to grab an A, because we're doing apple, and popping that on my little block. And I'm just going to use the A as a mark maker. This is one of my favourite stamp sets, is Claire's alphabet. I've used it a lot. If anyone's in my ATC group, or one of my ATC groups for this month, you will get my word with one of my words. I did 2 sets, so I could have 2 words. All right. I'll just bring that out a bit more. Just bring that down a little. All right, cleaning that off. And all right, now we're going to use that white again. I'm just going to clean my brush because it's got a bit of red in it. So if you don't have anything else white on your page, at the very least, you add some splatters. And I'm going over the areas, although it looks like I'm going everywhere. I'm just tapping over the areas where I have put that stamping. That kind of helps control me because I'd like to splatter everywhere. And it does splatter everywhere because it's not a controlled tap, but... All right, cleaning up that mess, and then I'm going to dry them off and pop a bit more detail on. How am I going for time? Oh, I'm getting close to being over. Jeez. All right. I think Nat should be sleeping it off about now on the other side of the country. All right, quickly drying that off. Okay, now I'm going to add a bit more black and white into this by adding a bit of collage paper. And I do like to add my collage paper sometimes over the top because I'm going to ground my little guy. So he's going to sit on, is this the pear one? Yes. He's going to sit on there. And I will do the cutting of the guys out off screen. So that he's grounded, he's going to be sat on there. And that brings that black and white together. So because I'm not going over the top with anything, all I need to use is a good old glue stick. Mine's purple, but don't fret, it dries clear. So we're going to get that across there. And then I'm going to layer it. I do like to do this with collage paper, is to add it on afterwards. So you get just that different, still same texture, but it's sitting on top and it's not lost all the time. And then this one. So first of all, I'm going to get a black pan. And I knew I would do this as soon as I saw this stencil. So I'm just going around really roughly. And that adds some more of that depth in by adding more black. So I hope you have all enjoyed watching the lives this weekend. Kasha did a wonderful job. I know she was very nervous about it, but she did fantastic. And Louise even half did a card this morning, if you didn't see that. That was like a miracle. I was so proud. So yeah, it's been fun creating all weekend with you guys. And if you are part of my class for next Saturday night, I will look forward to seeing you then. So look at that. That just changes that again. I am going to add in a bit more here with these. And I'm being really loose. Sorry guys, I keep going down. I don't know why my camera's moved up today. Okay, so again, we need to sit this guy on something. So I'm wondering if I put a little bit there and then a crossover. I need to get myself some more of this collage paper because it's one of my favorites. I use it all the time. So yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to pop that down the middle and then pop one across the top. So be standing in front of that. And then I'll add on my little quote of some sort. So I will take some photos and finish this project off and take some photos up. So lucky you guys don't have to watch me cutting out. Thank you for joining me. Before I go, I will just quickly run through oh, that's okay, Susan. You can do it at any time, my friend. I have lost my, what have I done with the specials? Oh, here it is. Okay, so just before I take off, just reminding you that the specials will continue for the weekend. 15% off All and Create, which is those little guys that we just created with today. 15% off paper, so if you need any kits, paper pads, I should say, have a look on there. It also includes some of the Funky Fossil paper pads as well. 15% off Minte, 20% off for Nona Mark and Simple Stories. That is amazing. 20% off Paper Rose and Uniquely Creative. So if you were like me the other day and didn't get your hand on some of those scissors, 20% off is for Uniquely Creative tools, everything. And these guys as well. So that I will use that as one of my quotes. So jump online to nataliemay.com.au, grab yourself a bargain. Thank you for joining us. The amateurs, I should call us, doing this great international craft show online, number 19. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I will take some photos of those projects and pop them up for you to have a look. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend. Bye.